So hello there, people of the internet, and I'm finally back. I have a new microphone, and you people seem to like it, which is just fantastic because I like it as well. So today I'm going to talk about Resto Druids in the Warlords of Draenor pre-patch, not Warlords of Draenor. Now people kept asking me about this over and over and over again to give my opinion about these and what I think, and stuff like that. So here it is. I don't know where people got the idea that I'm a competent resto druid, because I would not classify myself as such. I did some things. I did the challenge modes as a resto druid, and I did the entirety of Throne of Thunder and Siege of Orgrimmar on some difficulty as resto druid. So, but once again, I would not classify myself as a good or competent resto druid. So what has changed? Well, first of all, we no longer have Nourish, but Nourish was not very good, so we don't really care, do we? No, we don't. So Nourish was a filler spell, It was there, so you have something else to do other than just watch your hots tick. We have nothing else to do. Well, you can cast Nourish. Not a big deal. It's fairly cheap. It doesn't do an awful lot, but it's something for you to do. We still have Healing Touch and Regrowth, so I personally do not care. Next, we have Wild Growth. It's stronger, it heals for more, it's a lot more expensive, and it has a cast time now. But, and this is a pretty big but, since you're probably going to have a lot of haste, I will talk about that later, it's not that big of a deal. In all of my runs, I did some Siege of Orgrimmar, I did a couple of dungeons, I did the new Blackrock Spire. I never found myself in a situation where I was just like, God damn, that cast time on that goddamn Wild Growth just wiped my group. Never occurred. Okay, maybe in Mythic mode you might be like, well, the cast time is kind of sucks, but in all I did, I just, as I've said, the situation of, by the way, you can jump this stun, as you can see. You don't have to get stunned. Not enough a lot of people know this. Jump it. I never found myself in a situation where I was just like, yep, that Wild Growth cast time just wiped my grip. Just gone. It's just not there. Next, we have Life Bloom only having 1 stack instead of 3. Now, this change divided people into 2 camps. Pretty much the same way the removal of snapshotting mechanics divided people into 2 camps. The first camp is, this is a really cool change, it's a lot less punishing, and it's fine with me. The second camp is, well, they're just removing skill elements, because it was a skill. Keeping Life Bloom on 3 stacks and refreshing it when it's about to fall off is a skill. Skill is applied knowledge. If you have knowledge of something and you can apply it however you want, or, whatever, that's a skill. You have the knowledge of Life Bloom, you can refresh it with this, it lasts this long, and you can apply it by refreshing it before it falls off. You are skilled at it. Alright, and they removed that. Because previously it was, oh shit, my Life Bloom fell off, now I have to spend 3 global cooldowns because I fucked up, and this is the consequence. Right now, it's more like, oh, it fell off, I'm just gonna, pop 1 global cooldown, not that big deal. Okay? The same way I feel about snapshotting. It was something cool that I learned, and I liked it. I had the knowledge of snapshotting, and I was able to apply it and benefit from it. Now it's gone, and I'm upset. But other people feel the opposite way, the exact opposite, Snapshotting was bullshit, I'm glad it's gone. Each to their own, can't really do much about that, I don't really care. I'm actually kind of happy because I was terrible at keeping my Life Bloom ticking. That's just me. Now to the weirdest change of them all, and the one that I absolutely cannot get my head around, is the mushroom. Alright, so if you don't know, Wild Mushroom for Resto Druids has been changed. It no longer lasts 5 minutes or whatever it was, it's now only 30-second duration. Now, when I first saw this, I thought, okay, that's cool, that's a good idea, because what you do with mushrooms, right? If you have it only for 30 seconds instead of 5 minutes, it's a lot more important to actually play with it instead of just leaving it there. Because what you would do, I thought, is you just place it down, then your rejuvenation overhealing will charge it up, and then you have to bloom it. Okay, so if it's only 30 seconds, you have to charge it in these 30 seconds and then bloom it before it disappears. That's cool, right? That makes sense. Doesn't that make sense? I think that makes sense. But you can't bloom them anymore. You can't explode the mushrooms to grant this massive healing that you've charged up. So why is it 30 seconds? Why not 5 minutes? It was perfectly fine while it was 5 minutes. You just moved it around and then bloomed it when you felt like it. But right now, it just doesn't make sense. Why deny players the opportunity to bloom them? They only stay there for 30 seconds, so just let players play with the bloody mushroom. Let them charge it within this 30-second window and then bloom it before it disappears. What's the problem with that? I'm baffled by this change. I don't understand. I feel like it's a useless change. Either let players bloom it so they have to learn how to charge it and explode it properly within these 30 seconds, or just make it infinite or 5 minutes or whatever. Why is it not like that? It's kind of like what I feel about Inquisition and Savage Roar. These are just useless spells. You know, if you're using a spell so you can do something passively for 30 seconds before using it again, why is that spell not passive? It's not adding anything to the gameplay. Okay, it's just not. I'm not talking about cooldowns, I'm just talking about spells that you have to keep up all the time and they have a very long duration. Either make them a short duration so players really have to pay attention, or make them infinite or long duration or passive or whatever. That's the same opinion that Mike Preach WoW has, and that's the one opinion that I absolutely agree with him on. It's just useless to have a long duration spell that does something passive and you have to refresh it every 30 or 40 seconds. It just becomes a chore. It's so canned. Okay, it's not actively doing something, it's passively doing something that should be passive just fully. Alright, I just don't understand this change to wild mushrooms at all. I just don't. Now we're going to talk about stats now. Why would I want to talk about stats? Well, it's pretty simple. Haste. Alright, so let's go from the top so we have it all down. Intellect, your primary stat. Get as much as you can. Spirit, you know the good old thing. You know, get as much spirit as you need for a boss fight. Blah, 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 blah. So you don't run out of mana anymore. Blah, 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 blah. You know, as much spirit as you need. When you feel like you're at the sweet spot with your spirit and mana regen, that's the spirit you need. Then we have haste, and haste has been changed because of the removal of haste breakpoints, alright? So previously, if you were to go over a haste breakpoint, you would be actually losing mana because your hots are going out quicker, you know, they're ticking faster, they're falling off faster, you have to recast them more often, and it costs you more mana. Not anymore. If you go over a breakpoint, or what used to be a breakpoint, it will just add a smaller tick, which means haste increases your healing down. So you want to get as much haste as currently possible. That's why I told you that the cast time for wild growth is not a big deal, because you're gonna have a shit ton of haste because it actually increases your healing down with HOT effects. We have Mastery and Multi-Strike. Mastery being slightly stronger than Multi-Strike, but not that much. Alright, crit is kind of rubbish because the only thing it does, you know, you can crit with spells. But if you need to crit with spells, okay, if you really need to crit with spells, you can get a glyph that makes your regrowth crit almost all the time. So, you know, just don't. Then we have versatility. It's, from what I have read, about 20 to 30% weaker than all the other stats. Okay? So, in general, you probably have to favor Spirit until you feel like you have enough mana regen. Then you want to go Haste, and if you can't go Haste, just go Mastery. That's pretty much it, alright? So, that's the video about Resto Druids. That's my opinion, some stats and stuff, and I hope you enjoyed it. If it was helpful, like button, yes, it's there for a reason, or a dislike button, it's also there for a reason, and I shall see you next time. Bye-bye.